Brandon 2 red. Brandon 2 orange. Brandon 2 blue.
Purple. Yeah.
I'm blue.
Oompa loompa doompa dee. Greetings, my dudes, dudettes, and dudelets. This is This Week I'm Learning, a podcast where we dive into interesting rabbit holes, then report back here once a week. This is episode 65, recorded November 1st, 2021. We have all 5 members of our most recent normal panel back together after some... Yeah, well, what passes for normal here, anyway.
In the TWIL-verse, which is what I'm going to call this now.
The TWIL-verse.
The TWIL-verse.
Like it. Well, I am your host, Brandon Vader, also known as Drakanis. I guess I need to full screen so that I have everybody in their right positions. To that direction, we have Charlie Stiffler, also known as Mjolnir, down at the far end.
You take one fucking week off and you forget my name?
I forgot for a minute.
Fuck are these people I'm working with for 65 episodes and I'm known for a good portion of my life?
It was a really long day at work. All the way at the end, Cody Stratman, also known as Psychonitrous, circling back around the horn, that direction, is Tim Rhind, also known as Fake Farang. And then down below me, we have Colton Roper, also known as Seeker4761. And that is the amount of times I will fuck shit up on this podcast.
You know, when there was only 3 of us last week, I was 3rd to be announced. So now I'm down to 5th. So I have been downgraded a little bit.
You have been relegated back to the corner because that's 5. Where baby goes.
Hey,
Always.
you're still 3rd to clap. You're still
Fucking
3rd
boomers.
to clap.
Well, that's good. That's something. No one ever sees that, but it's in here. That's all that matters.
It's
They
the audio
actually
video
have.
syncing at the
They
beginning
actually
of the
do
episode.
see the clap intermittently because it is sometimes the funniest fucking shit we do all night.
True.
Yeah.
Especially
So
when
regular
we
viewers,
can't clap,
you'll know what we're
Brandon.
talking about. He's not the 3rd to get chlamydia, in case you're wondering.
Or when I introed the fact that I had the fold, which I still absolutely love.
How's the screen repair on it?
I haven't submitted it yet because I wanted to wait just an extra week or 2.
So it's not just fucking obvious that you bought the production plan and then replaced it?
Yeah. That plus, if you watched the last episode with me, I am also waiting to see if my closest Best Buy in Grand Junction will be able to do the repair on this.
Your closest Best Buy, which is 3.5 hours away. Normal traffic. Now, what 5 hours away?
Wow.
No,
it's probably
it is.
the same.
So if we take 50, it is 2 hours, 17 minutes.
I thought you weren't able to take 50 right now.
You can on the weekends.
Okay.
Yep. If I can't do it on a weekend, then I have to take 92, which actually only adds half an hour going to Delta
by
Grand
the
Junction.
And
Black
only
Canyon, the Thai coffee
10
company.
Yeah.
only 10 or so near-death experiences. Adding to that.
No, not
Not
in the
going
fall.
there, going back.
My wife
Not
just crawled.
not in my
You just saw
electric
her
car.
right there. You just saw her.
Yeah,
She crawled
yeah,
across
that
the floor
is-
trying not to get in. And so she popped up right at the perfect time to get caught crawling across the fucking floor.
And it was right under your... that's funny, because she showed up right under the UFO,
The
too.
UFO.
Yeah. She got de-abducted. Like they were like, we don't want you anymore. Please go back.
See, she de-energized and then re-energized.
And I changed my background for just a second so you can see that we were Gryffindors and Madison was Hedwig.
Oh.
But I'm doing it in honor of Alexis, who didn't was trying to actively not be on the podcast. Now I'm
Oh,
Put it
Forever.
Center
there you
stage.
go.
We could all change her background to her.
Yeah,
was
well,
gonna say,
just send
I'm-
us the same picture
Yep.
and we'll all put it back there.
Oh. That's so mean.
That's fucking hilarious. that picture should be the thumbnail of the episode, just to screw with her.
I do need to get better at doing it.
So-
I need to actually
so
learn
mean.
how to use one of those programs to make thumbnails. That's like my weak part at
It's easy. I'll
Editing.
show you.
Yeah.
Super
that.
easy.
See, that could be a
What are you using?
I use Affinity Photo.
Inkscape. Because I am an open
Was
source.
that sound effect at the end part of their trademark?
Apparently, I'm
Okay.
I'm legally required to say that every time.
Inkscape.
I mean, it's better than paying some other companies, $30, $50, $100 a month
Crazy.
for
Yeah.
their stuff.
Apparently, I'm cutting off my own head, but I mean, I'm here so you can see me. But
God damn it!
the pants,
Unbelievable.
the flaming hot Cheeto pants, and Luke is Naruto from Naruto.
Yeah.
Nice.
Naruto must have been a pretty popular thing this year because I saw like 6 or 7 ninjas running down like Naruto style, with the hands back, running down the street the other day.
Oh,
Pretty awesome for Halloween. I'm like, all right.
And I will have you know that the Area 51 thing would have worked out a lot better if they had more Naruto runners. I'm just
Exactly. That is a necessary requirement.
They wouldn't have been
I just
caught.
want to
They
say
wouldn't-
We'll
that
try again next
basically Brandon is Diva from Overwatch. The Mountain Dew and Cheetos.
Oh, yeah, the gamer shit
I mean,
with an anime son. Yeah.
yeah.
I guess I can't
But
give a shit since I'm drinking this right now.
I embarrassed the hell out of Luke wearing the PJ pants of Flaming Hot Cheetos
What?
out of
Okay.
the house.
It was like 37 degrees in Denver on Halloween. How
It's
fucking
really
cold
hot.
was it in Gunnison?
Oh,
So that was Friday
Oh, yeah.
because that was in town. That
Yeah.
was also at 3:30, so I think it was 40 something degrees.
Okay, a reasonable temperature.
yeah.
Yeah.
Remember, Gunnison is hot when the sun's out. Even in the winter, if the sun is out, it's warm because of the.
Yep.
Okay, yes,
solar
but Halloween
radiation.
starts at sundown on Halloween.
Yeah, so we opted to stay home. We
Okay.
went to a couple of select places that we
Okay.
knew would have full candy bars. And then hit up some,
Listen,
friends of the family and
grandmas.
stuff.
We went
yeah.
to our maid of honors for Halloween, and that was actually a couple of her neighbors were handing out full-size candy bars.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it was good.
Because fun size isn't fun.
Not on Halloween, it's not.
Fun size is fun when you're a kid, but when you only get to trick or treat as an adult at like 2 or 3 places, you kind of want the full size bars.
Used to like the
All
bag
right.
of chips.
Instead, I paid
Yeah.
2,000 baht, or no, it was 1,000 baht per person to go to this Halloween shindig here in Bangkok that was no alcohol
Thank you.
because of alcohol regs, and like they had interesting stuff, but it definitely was not worth the 1,000 baht per person because now that's expensive in my mind. And like
Isn't
they
that
had
like $5?
$30 basically.
$30.
And
Okay.
what they had were basically like appetizers. So they had ribs because they had like the display was actually really cool. I'll try and remember to put the picture here of what it was. But they had ribs that looked like bloody, like human carcass.
Yeah.
And then they had what's that? They had other stuff that basically looked bloody, and then creme brulee for some reason, because, well, who doesn't like
mean,
creme brulee?
You have to, Cody,
gets
go
lit
into
on
the
fire.
Thanksgiving one with the Friends Fun group, Jerry's group. You got to let Jerry know you're interested. That's only about 600 baht, and it's a phenomenal buffet and a good time. You got to try
Okay.
that one for sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely down. Yeah, I just wanted to go to a rooftop bar, again, and yeah, did the rooftop. That was Yeah, I don't know. I would say it would have been worth about 500 baht, not 1,000.
I just read the
It was
script,
still.
and I feel so bad for Brandon.
Right. So yeah, speaking of which, I guess we should actually get on with it already. And
He is about to insult someone's mother, sister, and cousin.
An
I'm
entire
certain of it.
country.
yeah,
I'm pretty sure we're going to lose
and
all of our
possibly their
viewership
dog.
from Thailand after he says this.
Yeah. So I was joking as Cody put this in there and then was like, hey, Brandon, do you think you could read that? And it's like, I'll give it a try, but I'm going to apologize before I say anything.
Yeah.
And then I also likened Thai to Dungeons and Dragons, where either you pass your charisma, you get across your point,
Or you're going to roll
or
one.
you roll a nat one. That's it. That's the only option. You pass, or it's a nat one. That's
You're
what
about
happens.
to roll a one.
I almost want to grab a dice and just see.
If it's one of your
But,
loaded D&D dice, then
Hey, they were not loaded.
sure.
I disagree, and I was the DM.
Atit nin kun Cody mi Ryan pasa Thai crop.
Fuck.
That's not too terrible. But
It's
It's
bad.
so terrible.
anyway,
It's like when I hear someone try and pronounce German words. And
Pronounced.
it's like,
Bless
You just
your
broke his
heart,
English.
Brandon.
Now he
Bless
can't
your
speak
heart.
English either. He just pronounced. God fucking damn it, Cody.
are you the chef? Are you the Swedish chef now?
"Hadoop-a-doo." I don't know.
Vert de Furk!
now that we're done insulting Thailand, Colton,
Again, my apologies.
at least he knows how to lie. Colton is going to say, Colton, yeah, is going to say that the Earth ain't all it's cracked up to be. Something about cracks.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Well,
say
I mean,
it's something to do with plate
Geological
tectonics.
features. Yep.
Incorrect.
Or
But you might be right.
it's no longer the coolest
Oh.
planet that he knows of.
I mean,
Well, there's a lot more cool.
Pluto
planets.
is much cooler.
Yeah.
If you can actually figure out what I am talking about, I'll be impressed, Colton.
Well, speaking of Charlie, he is going to talk about a sand engine creates dunes. Is it related to the movie Dune?
No, not at all. Not
No.
even a little bit.
That was an excellent movie.
And I actually told you exactly what it is by the description.
Well, I got nothing.
Okay, Tim is going to tell us about the little things.
And Brandon, the dark side beckons.
It does.
Meta.
Do
Disappointing,
they have
Brandon.
cookies? Do they have
Yeah, no,
I've been
no,
told
they
they have
don't.
cookies.
They really don't.
No, they
Is it
have
like it-
fruit. It's not. It's fruit. It's not nearly as
Okay.
good.
Oh, I know what it is.
Is it mangosteen?
Okay, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit, and I'm going to talk about the conversation that Brandon and I had earlier this week, like yesterday.
Okay.
Oh, so am I
He-
going first then?
No, but he's coming to the dark side. Okay,
Fucking apple.
fucking apple. All right, Cody, start us off.
That's a nice teaser. So, Brandon murdered it, but not as bad as I thought he was going to.
He killed a single kindergartner, not the whole class.
Still bad.
So I'm gonna
Not
say
war
it
crime.
as me because otherwise I would be saying it as somebody else. But Atitni, pom, so instead of Kun Cody, pom mi rian pasatai, kap, or krap, either way. So which means probably as
You're
you
learning
guessed it,
Thai.
yeah, this week I am learning Thai. So now I will be going into, as of today, my 5th day of learning Thai. So we are on chapter 3. So far I have learned greetings, numbers, which I mostly already knew anyway. But either way, that's been fun. Then
Star
I've
student.
learned after that. What did I learn after that? I'm trying to remember. Like hellos, goodbyes, stuff like that. And then now I'm on directions for basically, turn left, turn right, liao sai, liao qua.
I have a question. I'm interrupting you a little bit. I've found that different cultures describe directions in different contexts, much like observationally that men will use objectives like streets and turns, like cardinal directions, whereas women will typically use landmarks. Does the Thai culture use streets or landmarks or both, or kind of some
So the
equal
way that
mixing?
we are learning is we haven't learned cardinal directions yet. So, and I don't know if we are going to in this chapter, because I think today I'm actually going to have a quiz on it, because they do
So
a
are you
quiz.
with like 5-year-old Thai kids, or are you with like non?
No. This is specifically a Thai program for foreigners, and it's taught in Thai. The exception to that, so as part of the syllabus, there's no English speaking allowed. Now, there is an exception, because obviously you can't go into it and the teacher can't tell you everything in Thai when you don't quite know it yet. So what she'll do is she'll speak the English word with a very heavy Thai accent. It sounds weird, but it actually works, because then eventually we know that word in Thai. So rather than, open your book, she'll be like, but nang su, but to open, which is actually something I have to talk about, is open and close. So but and bid. Yeah. So but to open, bid to close. That applies not to just like doors, books. That applies to air conditioner. That applies to lights. That applies to like your computer.
So it's like on and off as well.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's basically
like
activate.
binary.
Yeah, it's binary.
Yes.
It's
On or off, open,
Yep.
close.
yeah, so that it's interesting because that's simple. Before I thought that Thai didn't have any linking verbs, but they actually kind of do. Like me is kind of a linking verb. And then there was one other one that I can't remember right now. But it's anyway, the class, I have 3 other regular students in my class. So it's 4 including myself and the teacher. So it's actually a small class. Right now it's online. Eventually it will go to in-person learning. But it's been fascinating. It's been really cool. If I have one critique, I would say that some of the other students are still like they're still like not showing emotion, where the teacher like is a really good teacher and like, having fun with it, but it's like some of the other students are just like, okay, this is the class, so it's like that drags it down a little bit. But I think that as we go, it'll get more fun, because we just talked about so liking, like the word in Thai for like is chop. So like chop, chocolate. And there's a lot of words in Thai that are actually borrow words, like chocolate, pizza, strawberry, stuff like that. So it's yeah, there's a lot of place names or nouns that are the same in Thai as they are in English. But anyway, it's been really cool. I've really enjoyed it. There's some things that I've struggled with more than others. The directions. I still can't remember the name for the tollway. But one thing that I've found difficult is the way that I was learning personally before this is I was starting to kind of learn how to read Thai, and now I have to learn how to, rather than reading Thai, because that's more of an advanced course, at least as far as this school is concerned, I'm reading English like Brandon had to read because of Thai, which is more difficult because you have to learn with like the weird like phonetic E's that are reversed and stuff like that. So it's like I have to learn how to read like weird phonetic English in order to learn to read Thai, where in a way I almost think that it would be easier if they taught us to read Thai as part of the first course. And so I think I'm going to continue my personal learning reading Thai as we do this course, because they also have the Thai characters in the book as well. And, where's my rock? Okay. So, for instance, so this is the book, and of course it's going to be reversed, or it's going to disappear. Thank you. So they have the name, but they do actually have it in Thai as well as the phonetic English. So when you're going through it, they have sentences that you can, that basically we follow along, because we're learning conversationally as well. So we'll go through a list of vocabulary, and we'll all, repeat the vocabulary, and then we'll go through these, kind of example sentences. And then after that, it's usually like a game, a memorization game that we play. And so basically it gets us all involved in it. And then we ask each other questions and answers in Thai. So it's very interactive. It's very...
That's good for memory for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean we're learning, and it's 5 days a week. It's 3 hours a day, so we're learning probably 20 to 30 words per day.
Yeesh.
Wow. Yeah, so it's again, that's why it's like some things are kind of a struggle, because it's, I would say I'm retaining about 90% of it, but it's still. Yeah, there's still things that I have to go back. I'm starting to actually have dreams about memorization in Thai, so I'm taking that as a good sign.
It absolutely is.
Yeah, and I'm taking Spanish, and I'm starting to interject Spanish in my Thai less, because that doesn't help anyone when you insert like a quiero inside of Thai. Like, no Thai person, okay, I'm not gonna say no, but it's going to be very...
The number of Thai people that speak Spanish is pretty fucking low.
Yeah, considering they just introduced Taco Bell into Thailand like 2 years ago, and there's like maybe 5 Taco Bells here, so yeah, that's how much Spanish is here.
The average language, you need between 1,000 and 3,000 words to be considered conversationally fluent. So if you're learning 30 a day, that's 100 days. You're a significant way through that progress bar.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And again, I'm hoping that I'm going to maintain, keeping that information. Another part of what we learned...
Well, the difference you have versus...
Sorry, Tim?
Can I ask you what a course like this would cost? Because I'd be interested in it as well.
So now the visa is included with the course that I did. And I did the most I could. So I did the biggest course I could, which is 7 courses, which are 20 days each, but it's a year visa. So you can take breaks. But you get tested by the Ministry of Education 2 times in the year. So they recommend that you take the first 3 courses just back to back. And when one course ends, the other one starts. So I don't really have a gap. for this.
Mm.
So the answer to how much it cost is I think it was 47,000 baht. So for US dollars, basically $1,500.
But a part of that is your visa, which is probably a significant expense. You think?
I would say that most of it is the actual Thai lesson.
It's probably about 10,000 would be your visa for them
Yeah.
to do it for you and all that.
Yeah. I would guess that, but and I don't know if they offer it without the visa. Anyway, the school that I'm going through is called.
Get you to send me a link sometime.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll just make inquiries.
I'll put it in the show notes. As a matter of fact.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's called Duke Language School, and I could tell you where it is in Thai because we just learned that.
But then he'd have to kill you.
Well, and nobody outside this podcast, well, not nobody, but most people outside this podcast would understand it. Anyway, Duke is on Soi 13 in Bangkok, so it's in the trendy building. So if you're interested,
Trendy.
yeah, they've
Happening.
got weird names. It's interesting too in Thai. So again, we just started learning directions and learning, to say where places are around. So like teo, to say something is around something, or to say something is next to something, would be not by. Ah, crap. This is one of the things that I've now forgotten, and as soon as I look it up...
Was that crap or crop?
No.
Or cup.
So, and then also T, where something is, like what street it's on. So, anyway, one of the things that was funny to me is they have in the book that to tell taxis to use the meter in Bangkok.
Meter.
Yeah.
That'd be a good idea.
Anyway, Colton, why don't you tell us about not geology?
It's not geology. It's nothing to do with Earth.
Okay, all right.
Not really.
I'm right. Not geology.
It has something to do with, but it does have something to do with Earth. It's kind of weird. Basically, I'm going to talk about. I was actually on astronomy.com the other day because I was bored and found an interesting article that I wasn't actually aware of. It's about an exoplanet.
Sorry, this is going to drive me crazy if I don't say this. Glai, or Glai, is next to.
I was right, by
Go
the
ahead.
way.
Okay, exoplanets.
Okay.
I apologize,
Okay.
Colton.
Are you going to do that for every word I say? 'Cause
No,
I'm gonna say
I'm
some
not.
words.
No, that was the word by,
You're
like
in
next
danger.
to, that
You
I
got
could.
people with ADD
Oh,
here.
okay.
We'll interrupt.
I'm like, oh god, it's getting forever. Anyways, exoplanets. I think we've actually talked about them before, at least a couple of them. Basically, exoplanets are planets that are discovered outside of our own solar system. So any gas giant or rocky planet that is discovered around a non-Sol-like star is an exoplanet. And one thing that's kind of interesting is the first planets that were discovered were actually basically super Jupiter-sized planets, like 4 or 5 times the size of Jupiter. Using the technology of like the early 90s, the best we could kind of do is whenever the planet would actually move in front of the star, it would dim it just slightly. And with the technology we had, it was super hard to really confirm it. But it was around 1992 was when the first exoplanet was officially confirmed. Kind of interesting. This astronomy.com article actually called it a cross between a zombie and a chimera planet. Which apparently, yeah, I know. I thought that was weird too. And basically, they found out that this planet was like destroyed actually, however many millions of years ago by the planet or by the star it was actually orbiting, which is like a neutron star, pulsar, which we have talked about before. They're highly energetic stars, and apparently the shockwave and the solar winds that were coming off of this planet actually destroyed planets millions of years ago, and they somehow figured out that this planet is actually 3 or 4 planets that was combined. So that's a whole other thing, is how the hell they figured this out in the 90s. Pretty freaking cool. Zombie planets. So that's cool. But in the mid-2000s or so, we actually started discovering Earth-like planets. So planets that are roughly the size of Earth, maybe 1 to 4 times the size, right around the same consistency, same mass. But even more recently, we actually started figuring out if they're in an area called the habitable zone of their star.
The Goldilocks zone.
The Goldilocks zone is another way to put it. It is the area around a star where any rocky planet, if it had water on it, it would always be in liquid form, at least most of the time.
Go through phases of liquid.
Yeah,
water.
it has liquid water can be found on the planet, basically.
Not too hot, not too cold, just
Goldilocks.
Right.
But I guess something that's kind of interesting is how. So there's multiple planets. I think they found roughly 70 of these habitable planets, what they consider habitable planets. In 2015, astronomers actually made what is called a habitability index. This index measures a planet's habitability on a scale from 0 to 1, where 0 is a lifeless hunk of rocky matter, and 1 is a veritable Garden of Eden. So that's kind of the scale. The index takes into account the planet's location in its star's habitable zone, which I've already explained, the type and volatility of its host star, the mass of the planet, the size of the planet, the metallicity of the star, as well as the planet itself. There's interesting little metrics that they're using to actually determine this. So I guess the question is, where do you guys think Earth would be on this scale, from 0 to 1?
I would guess it's like a 0.4.
Okay. Any other guesses?
I'm
0.8.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 0.8. I'm going 0.8.
Okay, that's a pretty damn good guess. 0.829 is actually where the Earth rates on this particular scale.
Nice job.
Which is pretty good. I mean, for habitability, it's a B-. I mean,
I'm very disappointed in the creators of this scale, because they could have just used Gene Roddenberry's and make it a Class M planet. But no, can't do that.
Can't do fun shit, which is funny because a lot of times they do fun shit. So you think they would have, but
right?
Who knows? But it turns out that Earth is actually not the most habitable planet out there that we have discovered.
Of course not.
According to this index. Also in 2015, astronomers discovered a planet that they named Kepler 442b. It is technically an Earthier Earth with a habitability. I really shouldn't have not used that word. Has an index of 0.836. It is actually the most habitable planet we have found so far, even compared to our own planet. It is a super Earth with a radius of 1.34 Earth radii, with an estimated mass of 2.36 Earth masses, and it receives about 70% of the sunlight that we receive, if that makes any sense. So, pretty bright.
So a little bit cooler, potentially.
The gravity would probably be heavier.
Well, think about it. So, the gravity's a little bit, it's like 4 times more gravitational pull or something weird like that compared to Earth, or it's 30% more. So, it is within acceptable human standards according to scientists.
Not if these human scientists want their ideal BMI to be under like 200 pounds.
It's the point is we could survive on it, at least gravitationally we could, theoretically.
So what makes it so much better then?
It's apparently more, because the habitable zone of any star is not just like one specific order. It's a orbit. Excuse me. It's a range, and Earth's habitability, Jesus Christ, is actually not in the perfect ideal zone. It's slightly farther out than, or is it? Yeah, I think it's slightly farther out.
Yeah, we're like Mars is well outside the Goldilocks. Venus is technically the inner edge of the Goldilocks zone.
Exactly. So there's that perfect an index of 1 is right smack in the middle where you want it to be. But But unfortunately, the habitability index does not account for things like atmospheric composition, rotation duration, the amount of radiation specifically hitting the planet from its star, solar winds. It's not exactly habitable, this particular planet, so far, at least as we know.
Hostile
for all we know,
fauna.
Exactly. For all we know, Kepler 442b could be exactly like Earth, just a little bit bigger, or it could be more like Mercury, just a lifeless hunk, or it could be like Venus with an incredibly deadly atmosphere. But at least still interesting that this particular planet is in an area where water could exist. That is from what I hear, water is important to life, so pretty important.
Maybe they should
50-50.
call it like a water index rather than a habitability index.
They didn't really think of a particularly good name, but who knows? Let's see here. We've discovered about 4,000 exoplanets, and roughly about 50 of them have been found to be in the habitable zone of their own star. But still, with an estimated 100 billion planets in the Milky Way and about 100 million potential Earth-like planets, those are rough estimates, there's a real possibility that we will find the earthiest Earth out there with that mythical score of 1.
With super T-Rexes.
Exactly. Just better
Earthiest
people,
Earth.
better everything. The earthiest Earth.
And then they will rapidly conquer the planet.
Oh, totally. But still interesting. I do know, most of these planets that have been found are actually kind of... Nope, go ahead. I assume you're raising your hand, or what are you doing there, Tim?
No, I just went to rub my eye.
I was like,
hit the
look at him being all
microphone.
formal. But it's interesting that most of these planets have been discovered by the Kepler telescope. That's why they're all called Kepler so-and-so. The newest, I guess, what's interesting about Kepler is its only job was to search a very specific part of the sky. I want to say it was 2 or 3 moons in terms of size of the sky that it was actually searching. So it's kind of impressive they found so many. I do know they're coming out with a new telescope. It's called the James Webb Telescope, and it's going to be able to search the entire sky for planets. So in the next 10 to 15 years, we will see a huge explosion in discoveries of this type. And
So
kind of exciting.
I've frequently made jokes that this was the Hubble Space Telescope, and I'm calling these the James Webb Telescope because
Hell yeah, they're better.
I can see so much clearer now, and oh my god,
He could see.
I am scary with how far I can see now.
I was expecting him to say I could see so much clearly now, and God, you guys are all ugly.
Well, we already knew that. The viewers can see just fine.
Thank God we're only in standard definition, not 4K. Anyways.
Right.
But even though I know it's not about space, I'm going to say, what the hell are you talking about sand engines there, Charlie?
Could be Arrakis.
It is not Arrakis. It has nothing
Damn
to do
it.
with the spice. The
I wanted it
spice
to.
must flow. I am going to share this meme, though.
Love it.
Yeah.
Freaking Anakin.
What you
sand
can't
meme.
see is his bottom line is that the movie fucking about sand. And yeah. It's, So, I was listening to NPR the other day, and this topic came up, and a sand engine is being utilized on the southern coast of the Netherlands. And what they have been doing for not quite a generation, but for a significant period of time in the south of the Netherlands is they have to basically replace their beach because of massive erosion. And they've been doing that. They've been dropping millions of cubic meters of sand every 5 years. And that has some pretty devastating effects on the natural ecosystem in that area. And so...
And also expense, too, because
It's
sand
also very expensive.
Is actually a valuable resource.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Beach sand,
about
specifically.
10 years ago, they came up with this idea, and it is an idea. It's still technically in its first testing phase. They dumped 20.1 cubic million meters of sand. And so this entire outcropping, this entire sandbar with a natural lake in the middle was placed. And in the 10 years, it has deposited the sand farther and farther down the beach. So I'll share a couple more pictures here. So here's the view of it. So you have coastal forces that are pushing the sand down this way. And as time goes on, you're actually going to have further and further deposits. So it's going to eventually morph into this and then this, all the way down here at the end. So theoretically, instead of having to drop sand all across the beach every 5 years, they're going to drop sand once every 20 years and cover the entire sand, or the entire beach. This is a unique coastal pattern. This is a unique solution. It is not something that could just be translated to other coastal situations, which is very unfortunate because the proof of concept in this particular case is amazing. The cost is about $15 billion to put that much sand down, which sounds like a crazy high number, except for it is less than 5% of the annual budget for water mitigation in the Netherlands.
And honestly, with a better beach, they'll probably make more money in taxes, and it's
right.
Yeah,
so
it's an investment.
You're having a lower ecological footprint, so the little estuary kind of water body that you're creating with this, the natural wildlife is using.
It's a tidal zone.
Years. Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, there's an illegal trade in sand.
Yeah,
yes.
That's what I was wondering if you were going to get into.
That's very interesting.
When I was researching this topic, one of the questions that kept on popping up, which I'm considering going and finding the answer to, is what's buried underneath the sands of the Sahara. I'm going to go with more sand until you get to bedrock, but that's just me.
You might find some diamonds in there if you dig deep enough.
I mean, it's possible. It's possible.
No Minecraft. Fuck you guys.
Yeah, gotta get down to Y13, Y11 for optimal
Go for that redstone,
mining.
baby.
Yeah, but the problem with Y11 is it's lava is Y10.
Yeah, so you're one above lava. That's perfect.
No, it's not perfect.
You want to be
2
above.
You want to be 2 above.
So you fall into it? Clearly, we have
fall
some
into
disagreements about Minecraft. You want to be right at the edge of it. You don't want to be above it because then you bloop, and then you can't get out.
Little known fact: we all stopped being friends for about 2 years about this exact topic. So it's pretty it's pretty intense.
All right,
Charlie.
Mjolnir, please go on.
Son of a bitch. Anyways, so yeah, pretty light topic for me this week, but the people of the Netherlands actually call this a sand motor, but everyone else in the world refers to it as a sand engine.
Pretty awesome.
It's very hard for them to substantiate why they call it a motor versus an engine when they're both speaking in English.
Yeah. I'm.
It's not the translation. It's like them speaking in English. They call it a motor. It's like weird.
Huh, must be a cultural thing.
Must be.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool when like engineers come up with natural solutions to problems like that in terms of saving energy, it's super cool. That's awesome. Love it.
This is why hydrologists are important in the world.
Yeah.
In case you were wondering.
Support your local hydrologists. They're probably alone.
Yeah, they
So
are.
alone.
Give them a call.
Ezra is not a part of this podcast, so he's very alone.
Shit, that's funny.
All right,
Yeah.
Tim, tell us about the little things.
Well, I guess I just learned that it's hard to find something interesting in your life to share each week. There are interesting things, of course, but they tend to be a little too personal to share.
And most people don't care about
Oh, right.
everybody else's
Anyways.
things.
Yeah. Anyway, so I've got a lot of little things. I've learned that on trips to the northeast of Thailand, if Google suggests a shorter, more scenic route, don't take it. unless you have a high suspension 4x4.
Yeah.
Because it involves roads that have not been maintained, that have potholes and holes that will swallow your car. Oh my God, that was an interesting ride that one time.
I still remember when we went on the bike ride up to the lake to the reservoir. Google thought that one of those 2-track trails was a road. So
Yeah.
I could believe that. Absolutely. Oh my God, that must have been. I can't wait to see the video on this.
Yeah. And I know I've always known that food tends to be more spicy in Isan. Isan is the northeast of Thailand. So if you ask for, and I can handle spice, but if you ask for a normal, you're going to get the spicy hiccups for your first few bites. If you're asking like for a somtam, your stomach's going to be going, oop, oop. And Cody would be making that noise. I don't know if you ever heard Cody's noise when he takes something really, really hot. Yeah.
We may have met him at some point.
Yeah, that's your body saying that's a terrible idea and you shouldn't fucking eat it.
Yeah. We also discovered that somtam restaurants, it's a papaya salad. It's just everywhere in Isan, and they have restaurants that just specialize in somtam. Most of them we found out close at 4 p.m. But I think after having that level of spice, I sort of understand, because if you don't want to have that like at 6 o'clock and then you go to bed and you'll be, refluxing all night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever had a reflux after somtam? It burns your nose.
So I really think I propose that Thailand's national dish should be changed from pad thai to somtam.
Yeah, I agree.
So kind of
I've also
adjacent
learned
to your
that
topic.
Organizing files from different cameras over several days of shooting can be difficult. I've got so much video. I've been using my DJI Pocket 2 as well as my GoPro Hero 9 to record video. Now the problem with the GoPro Quick app is you have all your file dates and times on your GoPro files, but when the GoPro Quick app imports it, it changes the date to the date and time you just imported it. So that makes it really annoying. If you right click on the file and go info while it's in the GoPro Quick app, you get all the details. You get like all the EXIF type.
But you'd have to do that
data
for each file, which would be terrible.
But you can't do that once you're trying to put it into something like into other software. So that's one headache I have to deal with.
I've never used the Quick app for importing. I just take from the memory card, drag, and drop.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I get around that, and that's how I've never known about that issue. But thank you for learning that for me.
Oh.
So I don't
unfortunately, after I did that, I already got the GoPro app automatically delete the files off the card. So I couldn't go back and do it. Yeah. Here's one I learned that you can animate your ancestors' photos, and I'll show you on my screen. It can be a little bit creepy though. It could
We
be
actually
interesting,
did this
but
topic.
be a little bit creepy.
Brandon did this topic before you joined our podcast.
Was that?
Brandon did
we
this
actually
topic before
did this
you
topic.
joined us. Yeah.
Oh, you did? Okay. So this
Do it.
is my grandmother. Okay.
Really?
My mother's mother, and that's her wedding photo. I just moved it off to the side so you can see it. Me. And this is the animation, and you can select different animation. This one's not as creepy as the other ones, but it still feels weird.
Like an AI, man. That is so cool.
Yeah.
It's interesting. The farther you have the person looking, like the farther their face gets distorted. You're like, okay, there's the uncanny valley shit right there.
It scared the heck out of my wife when she saw it.
Don't understandably, yeah.
It's frightening.
I live next door to a Thai grandma. Our next door neighbor Siri is a little Thai grandma, and she took us to the most authentic Thai restaurant in Colorado, as she put it, and it's the Lotus but in Thai, and I ordered coconut green curry,
Ah!
and which I've had many times before. I love coconut curry. Love.
It's just
coconut.
you chose the spiciest curry.
No, I asked. Like, she asked me, how spicy would you like? And I'm like, I don't know, medium. I have a 300 bottle hot sauce collection. Like, I flex about my hot sauce collection kind of a lot. And like, I've got a 3 million Scoville hot sauce. I've got a actual sauce that is made of brain strained, which is like the 7th hottest pepper in the world, and I put it on pizza routinely. This shit lit my ass up. Yeah. Oh my god.
The authentic spice, Asian spice experience.
Fucking delicious. But oh my god, I was dying. It was
because I don't get it because
I
Thai
had
peppers.
reflux that night. I had reflux that night. I don't always have it, but I had it after having those 2 different types of somtam, and I thought I was going to die because my whole nose, everything was burning. You didn't just feel it from the stomach, acid, but the chilies, it was just killing me. Oh,
I don't.
You out, but that was
I don't
painful.
understand it because it's like the Thai peppers, like comparatively in Scoville, aren't as hot as other peppers, but I don't know if it's like just how they cook them, the quantity of them, but somehow these dishes are crazy spices. I like to say that, Thailand is spicy and Isan is to Thailand as Thailand is to the rest of the world as far as spiciness. So you don't go into Isan or the south.
Is it something with the papaya? Is it the papaya that's like stupid hot, or
no?
Not.
Papaya is
like
spicy.
Is that like the
I think it's the
refreshing
bird
part
chilies.
of it? Because I mango
It could be a mix of
habanero
flavors.
Mango habanero is hotter than habanero.
It could be
it
the
could be
sweet
the combination.
versus the spicy. I could see that.
Well,
So
they also
Same
mash
reason
them with a pesto, right?
yeah,
Nice
that's true.
hand motion on the
they
podcast.
really get all
Tim.
the stuff out. Anyways, okay, I got one more little thing for you.
I do have a question about it. The somtam. Did they have? Because I've been curious. Do they have the somtam that isn't made with the nam pla there?
Oh yeah, you can get all kinds. Yeah.
Okay.
You get with shrimp paste, just fish sauce, or with. But you know what? The plau ra is good. It depends. It depends how much they put in.
Yeah, there's some of the it's too much. It's like the smell gets to me, and I can't.
Yeah, you're probably okay with the fish sauce, but not the plau ra, which is a fermented fish.
Yeah, that's what it is. The fish sauce. The green stuff I like. The brown stuff I don't like.
Just on one more thing, it's the visa renewal time this month, and I have what's called a marriage visa. This is the background. I've been with my wife since 2010, but every year we got to prove that we're married, and one of the things we have to do is we have to submit 6 photos. How this proves we're married, I don't know. 6 photos of us around our house. And the funny thing about this is that one of them has to be in the bedroom. And some people will say, well, it has to be on the bed. You have to be a photo of you on the bed. So, needless to say, we've taken our photos.
Dirty Thai government. I love it.
But I kept my clothes on.
Oh.
So, there we go.
Subscribe to our Patreon for extra.
So you got to have the bed.
No.
Love it.
Do you have like chili powder on your headboard? What is that?
Chili powder on my head.
What is between
Oh,
the
there's
What are those
like
jars?
jars of stuff behind your
Does it
pillows.
smell good stuff?
Like over your
that's just some
shoulder.
Between the pillows.
That's just some bottles.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's some old prescription medicine that we don't need right now. But you don't want to keep it in the bathroom because the bathroom's too hot and too humid. Don't
That
want to
actually
put it
makes
in the
sense.
fridge.
Okay.
So it just happened to be there. I don't know. I should have taken it out.
It's
Oh, that's okay. That's cool storage space, actually. Yeah, I like the storage space on the headboard.
Yeah, I definitely need to look up like what
headboards,
is.
I think, are stupid.
What is the
Yeah, it's got
logic
quite a
of
bit.
that
There's
proof?
a drawer in it.
Because hell, I could go to Brandon's
You're
house
using
and take
logic,
pictures around
though.
his house, and we could be married for all they know. I mean,
Yeah.
You guys are actually married in Colorado. I don't think
It's
he
true.
told you, but you are.
Logic is
Charlie
not
took
part of
pictures
any
of you
this.
two together.
I'm coming, baby.
So that is that for me.
That's terrifying.
Let me
That's
see what I pass
interesting.
on here.
It might be small things, but that very useful things like the GoPro, like the spiciness, that could help. Those could absolutely help somebody out.
Oh, okay, good. I'll try to keep that up because
Yeah.
I find that easier to do. Oh, right. So I'll move on to Brandon. The dark side beckons.
Yeah.
What are you talking about today?
So,
He
in
wanted
order...
this. He wanted to buy this from me. He wanted to switch to Apple. He is
I told
switching
you.
to Apple. It is
He's
amazing.
throwing you under the bus.
This will be the last episode he's a
Yes.
part of, by the way. Just
yeah, before,
Me or
before I
him?
go hide my head in shame.
as you should.
So, here's the thing. If I want to get into this,
Yeah.
and if I want to sit...
What is that?
Can you fit? Can you fit in that?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
It's
Explain
comical.
this is
for
a-
audio
I can't.
listening.
So, for those audio listeners, I am looking hot and heavy at 1968 Beechcraft Baron. It is a twin-engine aircraft. The particular one behind me has been upgraded to a tri-blade rather than two-blade prop, and some other stuff, but this will be gone by the time I have a license and the money for it. But in order to get one of these, I mean, I suppose I could, if I had the money, just go out and buy one, but I would be unable to fly it. In order to get behind the seat of the aircraft and fly it myself, I need 40 hours of training. 10 of which are through a ground school, and unfortunately, the 3 ground schools I have called all require Apple. Because,
Of course they do.
yeah,
Yeah, I've heard that that's pretty much the go-to in the aviation industry, sadly.
because of one application. One app is what makes me need to join the dark side and get an Apple device. It's called ForeFlight, F-O-R-E Flight. Now, what it is it's all of your charts. It has some GPS functionality so that you can actually kind of have your plane on the chart so that you know, like your approach vectors, your holding patterns, what's going on, without having to resort to thick paper maps that you would have to then buy yearly, if not more often than that. I think there was something about 6 months. But even though there are applications out there, I have been playing with this is Garmin Flight, currently running on my, and you can't really see it, but currently running on my Fold 3, perfectly fine. GPS, everything else. Garmin's a known name in aviation. It's a good brand of GPS for aviation. It has all the information I would need, but because my ground schools train on ForeFlight, they will not let me. What is that?
That would be ForeFlight.
Oh. Yeah, I hate you. Just a little bit.
Gonna be a little self-hate soon, isn't it, Brandon?
Oh, yes. There will be a lot of self-hate for having one of those in my life.
It's going to be worse than that, Brandon, because once you actually start using
You'll probably
a
love it,
new
and-
Apple device, you're going to fucking love it. You're going to fucking love it, and you're going to hate yourself even more, and it'll be fantastic. By the way...
I've tried enough Apple devices that...
I do love iPads.
Actually,
I love
Brandon
the
at
iMacs.
one point had an iPhone.
Yes,
that
I did.
he
I
used
have
regularly.
had 2 iPhones.
So he's been in
Damn,
that
that
world
is
before.
really actually pretty nice with that screen size too.
Now, see, that is part of the problem. I would need, for this aircraft that I am looking at, although there are places you could mount the 11 or 12 inch, I am looking at the wee baby iPad.
The mini.
Because of... I haven't...
Save you some money too.
No, not really.
Oops.
No?
No. Not
enough.
not as much as you'd think. So, this is one of the rabbit holes I fell down yesterday of looking through eBay. Because here's the other thing is they recommend 2 of the places that I talked to specifically said, if you're going to get an iPad, get it new so that then you don't have to worry about, well, what if somebody replaced something with some janky components and you're
on mission
are
critical.
flying,
yeah. There is no
and
backup.
you're running your checklists, because you can also download your aircraft checklists into your iPad. You're running through some sort of critical checklist, like a engine flameout. That's for jets, but...
Yeah, we get it.
You know, hey, my engine isn't working right. I need to go through the in-flight shutdown procedure for my, engine number 2. And, hey, all of a sudden your touchscreen stops responding because the third-party digitizer in it has been shaken loose.
Or like some virus
whatever.
from the porn sites gets on there. Like, I don't want to know about women in my area. I need to land this plane.
Yeah.
Sorry,
just
area
set my
not
default
found.
aircraft. I just set my default aircraft to the aircraft that I got my twin-engine IFR rating on, the King Air 90.
Okay. Ooh, the King Air is a good
just-
aircraft too, but
God.
that
Just
is
looking at that,
that is an
looks like there's a lot of cool
expensive.
info on it.
Yeah, so
Oh yeah.
you can actually see me.
And
Oh, I'm right there.
I
There's
will say that interface
There's-
far exceeds Garmin's flight interface. Just, oh, Charlie, I hate you.
and
I mean,
That is such a pretty interface.
and Kappa, my home airport, is happens to be one of the best municipal airports in the entire country. Not just to mention like learning how to fly at. I learned at Aspen Air, so like I was the poor kid that they like. Oh, we'll sponsor you. You're fine. Yeah. And so I got my twin engine IFR rating with 190 hours, and I think my parents' total out of pocket was about $500.
Wow. Yeah,
just
I'm
my
curious.
discovery flight. Just my discovery flight is going to be almost 200.
Yep.
Per hour. This is through my local FBO. Per hour for plane rental and aircraft instructor would be $210.
Yep.
Per hour, I need 25 instructor hours, 5 solo hours,
It's actually
10 class hours.
like looking at commercial airline pilots.
See,
Isn't there a big
helicopters bad, too.
shortage of pilots, and it's going to
Yeah,
becoming a bigger
here's-
issue
Yeah.
soon because of how expensive it
But-
is to become a damn pilot.
Yeah, and here's the deal: you don't make good money until you get on with a regular airline. When you're on,
You don't even
with
make
one
good
of
money
the
then, to be honest.
Yeah.
when you're on a small airline, you are making the
Unless you're
same
doing
amount of
international.
money that the person who's saying, "Would you like fries with that?" makes.
And helicopter pilots, I understand, can be even more expensive.
Yep.
Yeah, it's honestly a problem that probably government intervention needs to get involved if they don't want to have a big problem later on. Some sort of incentive or like some sort of I don't know, scholarship program, something. Tax breaks, anything.
Well, some of the major airlines actually will sponsor you. If you go, hey, I'm going to sign a contract with that airline.
You have to sign a contract. Yep.
So,
and I mean, here's the thing. I don't, at least currently, I have zero interest in being a commercial pilot. I want to get my pilot's license to fly that so that I can fly where I want, when I want, how I want. Well, not quite how I want, but
upside down the whole way.
I was gonna say nap of the Earth is not allowed by the FAA.
Yeah, no. But
what's cool is that's a twin engine, so that's a big step up from doing a single engine as far as.
Yes, and that's part of the reason I am looking specifically at owning a twin is the safety factor.
And the hours.
Because, safety factor, hours, and then range. This specific model, the Beechcraft B55, has a range with 45 minutes of basically emergency flight time of 900 nautical miles. That will put me almost anywhere in the U.S. except the far East Coast in a single flight, in a single fill-up. Which means if I wanted to go to California, it would be less than a tank. I would get there in a single hop.
You need to start listening to a couple of the aviation podcasts I listen to. I would recommend. The Flight Radar.
You had $150,000 laying around.
Hey, this one's only $106,000.
But anyway, there was a person who got their.
I pulled this off of controller.
There's a person who got their pilot's license by flying to all 50 states with their instructor.
Ooh. Yeah, I don't have that kind of money.
They broke the... so she actually broke the Guinness Book of World Records on it. On the first person to fly to all 50 states in the shortest amount of time. And she had issues with the plane along the way, too. And had to get either the plane replaced or repair. I think it was a replacement plane that she had to get.
What
there you go,
plane
Brandon.
did she take? Because to get to Hawaii...
Okay, sorry. It was not Hawaii. It was
lower 48.
So the Guinness Book of World Records was 48 states, but she did Alaska too.
Okay.
So
I was
she
going to
started.
say, because...
Yeah, Hawaii would be rough.
Yeah. Sorry.
I mean...
Yeah. No, sorry, it was the 48
contiguous...
Tank. Yeah, it was the 48 contiguous states, and she started with Alaska.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. So...
And to be clear, she must have broken like the civilian record, because I'm pretty sure the LA Tower story would have smoked it like a ham.
Well, but she probably stopped in each state.
Landed and took off.
Landed in each state.
Landed and took off in each state, rather than just like flew from East Coast to West Coast.
Oh yeah, no, she landed in
She broke it in a Blackbird. Wouldn't that be funny?
So, Brandon, what is your plan going to be? What is your strategy?
My strategy for getting
your
my
license? Yeah.
Lottery, baby. Crypto, baby.
No.
Fill your body, baby.
I may get an OnlyFans. No, not at all.
Fuck it.
So, the total estimated cost for if I go through the fixed base operator where I live, which is a little bit more expensive than if I were to go to Montrose. But with drive time and fuel and
Highway 50.
weather issues, it's about the same. So it's about $12,000 to go here, and that is all of the hours, all of the materials, and test cost.
Is that for single or
twin?
That's for single.
Oh.
And then you have to go for your twin.
Oh, okay.
I had my single engine 3 years before my driver's license.
Dang.
Yeah, in Alaska, that's common, actually.
Yeah.
I would not be a good pilot. I'm not even imagining myself. I would crash first day multiple times.
Well, there is a story of a guy who was ferrying a plane across the country and crashed 6 times.
Is that like Great Depression times?
No, that was recently. That was like several months ago. Yeah.
And he still has
Again, you guys need to listen to the aviation podcast that I listen to.
Yeah. No, so my plan was to take a Discovery flight this coming weekend. Unfortunately, my FBO here has a waiting list of 18 people to get into training right now.
So that's a year minimum.
Yep, she's talking a year. Which is good and bad. I still think I'm going to take my Discovery flight maybe in Montrose or possibly Delta. I haven't talked to that FBO yet.
Come to Centennial.
Huh?
Can't hear you.
Come to my house. Come to Centennial.
Come to Centennial.
I have friends, and you have friends that have planes out of Centennial.
Oh. Okay.
He might hypothetically fly from the Gunnison area to Centennial on the frequent, if you remember. Mr. Mesner.
Very true.
Friendship is magic.
But yeah, so my plan as of current is to, before the end of the year, I will take a Discovery flight. I don't care where I have to drive to. It's happening this year. No ifs, ands, or buts.
I have a
Sounds
bedroom.
like you've got some good options for that.
Yes. Yes.
Then get your full commercial license and come fly in Indonesia. You should see
there's
the
a guy.
No,
missionary bush pilot.
Conditions they fly. They have to fly in there. It's
missionary
amazing.
bush pilot on YouTube. That's an interesting channel. A really cool channel. You should watch it, Brandon. You would really enjoy it.
Okay. But either way, so Discovery flight, and then I will probably save up. I will probably get on the waiting list. And if I save up, I might be able to, rather than doing this over the course of 4 years like I was originally planning, basically 2 hours, that would have been, 2 hours of flight per month. Because that's about what I can afford right now. If I save up for the year, I would then be able to do like 3 or 4 hours of flight a month and get it a lot quicker, possibly even inside of a year or two. But I am done putting this on hold. I have wanted to fly. So one of my first dream jobs, my dad was in the Air Force. He was a munitions technician, which is a fancy word for bomb loader. He told me about an experience where he got to ferry fly and sit in the co-pilot seat and actually hands-on control of a F-111 Aardvark for a short amount of time. Actually put it through barrel roll, inverse loop-de-loop, regular loop-de-loop, and yeah, they got
you might be
close
jealous of
enough
me.
to see some
Jealous of me then.
spray off the sea.
Have you ever heard of the Snowbirds, Canada's aerobatic team?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I had, because I was a photographer in the military, I had to take what they called a high altitude training, ejection seat, and hypoxia training. But anyways, because I had that, the Czech pilots for the Snowbirds and for other pilots, they were all based out of CFB Winnipeg, and they had about 3 or 4 of these Tudor jets, and they would fly them. So they let me take the second seat, and we went up for an hour. I flew between Portage la Prairie and Brandon and Winnipeg, and let me have the controls. And he said, go upside down, do this, do that. It was an amazing experience.
Oh yeah.
It's not an F-18, mind you, but I mean these things are still very nimble and impressive.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, I just remember listening to my dad's stories about flying, and it's like, I want to do that. I want to do that.
Yeah.
And then
That was my dream too. Yeah.
Hit 18, and I was like, I'm going to join the Air Force. I'm going to be a fighter pilot. And they're like, you're 6'6". That's not going to happen. You're not going to fit unless we cut you off at the ankles, and then you can't fly anyway. You will not fit in the cockpit of any of the fighters. You can fly cargo. And I'm like, fuck you guys. I ain't flying cargo. And then, tried to jump out of helicopters and save drowning people, and got told that I was too big for a helicopter. So that was through the Coast Guard. But so for years I have dreamed of flying. I have put thousands of hours into various computer simulators, and I'm done waiting. I'm
good. Go for
34 going on 35. If I don't start this shit now, I'm never going to start it.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, do it. I love it.
But that means I have to buy a fucking iPad.
Lifelong dream, but you have to own an iPad.
God damn Apple.
It's there's a reason I called 2 other training facilities.
Yeah.
Oh, just buy the damn iPad. It's the best tablet out there.
But this is my everyday carry phone
without
and a tablet.
Better than that.
And a tablet.
But for flight, you don't want to put a lot of stuff on your iPad. Just you want to keep it just for that. I would imagine.
Yeah.
You don't want to mess it up with maybe something that will crash it. So,
Hey, guess what?
That was also the
My
recommendation.
iPads don't crash.
Well, they can. I've had
They
them
absolutely
before.
can.
They can, but I haven't had an Apple device in
No,
years.
but I'm just saying if I'm going to use it
crash.
for flight reasons, I would put minimal stuff on weather and whatnot.
No,
Dedicated
it
for
will be purely for flight.
And
apparently
FTL.
there's a way that you can... No. Although that is one game that they have that Android doesn't, and it's like, why? It's silly.
Okay.
But no, apparently there's a cord that will go from the iPad to the computer, and then you can put a piece of software on the computer and actually have it tie into Microsoft Flight Sim.
Ah, cool.
And you can actually
That's
properly train on ForeFlight with a simulator with your equipment, which is kind of cool. iPad.
Oh, you'll live.
Yeah.
I don't
It'll
know.
work out.
I may not.
Well,
But damn it, I'll die trying. get into
Well, you're
that.
going in a plane, so it's a real possibility.
Yeah. Just don't crash your iPad by crashing your iPad.
Yeah, no physical crashing.
Yeah. Oh, you're so great.
And gears down. No belly landings.
Yeah, don't be like that Era Aviation, or actually not the Raven pilot that forgot to put the gear down.
So when I was working at the airport here with United, there was one of the I can't remember the name of the plane. It's like the Millennium or something. It's got the canards up front. Ooh. Yes, Blackhawk.
Okay, quit
Canards up
distracting
front.
Brandon.
It had the wings that sweep in back, and then the pusher props. Like pretty rare, pretty expensive plane. Do a belly landing because the guy just simply forgot to put the gears down.
Oh, he had to feel terrible about that. Or he just had enough money where it's just like, oh, well, I'll get another one.
I don't know. The only thing I remember hearing about specifically was how he said, yeah, it was weird because I got down to the point where normally there's the
ground effect,
the touch of the wheels hitting the pavement, and it just kept going. And at that point, there was nothing he could do.
Yeah, that's a sinking feeling. That's probably too late for a go-around, huh?
No, it's a sink rate feeling.
Yeah.
Sink rate. Sink rate.
Pull up.
Terrain
Pull
alert.
up.
Pull
You're
up.
fucked. You're fucked.
Yeah.
I assume that's one of the things. I hope it's one of the things.
No.
I wish it was. It's not FAA approved.
It should be.
And the final one should be, uh-oh.
You did. You did.
Uh-oh. Terrain. Okay. I think that is a wrap.
Yep.
So, Colton, since I ended on you, why don't we start with you? Where can we find you?
I don't need your pity, but I'll do it anyways.
He doesn't need it. He'll accept it.
I will accept it gladly, but I don't need it. Colton Roper, I go by Seeker4761 in most of the things, if not all of them. I'm also a stream pretty regularly on twitch.tv/Seeker4761, and I'm also a contributor to thetechpirate.net. And Cody, what about you?
Oh, hello. I thought you were going to go to Tim, but that's all right. I will take it.
Yeah, you should have went to Tim.
That would have made more sense, but...
Yep. Anyway, it's me now, not Tim. I'm Cody Stratman, also known as Psychonitrous, also known as Zito Valder. On Instagram, I've been posting beautiful pictures lately, like this one, taken with my phone, which is not an iPhone, which everybody in Thailand seems to think is an iPhone when I first roll up to them. Anyway, yeah, so on Instagram, I will be playing Star Citizen as soon as 3.15 drops. I will be playing that regularly, so I'm going to try and do that on Twitch, and I've got YouTube Striving to Fail. Anyway, since you were skipped, Tim, why don't you go?
Okay. On Discord, I'm Fake Farang, F-A-K-E-F-A-R-A-N-G. YouTube and Instagram, my wife and I are Our Thai Journey. I haven't put anything up on YouTube for quite a while, but I just came back from a week of vacation to an area of Thailand, the northeast, called Isan. And hopefully in a couple of days I'll have my first video up regarding that. Last night I spent most of the time having my computer doing transcoding of the files. And hopefully there'll be something up on YouTube very shortly.
Nice.
And I guess, who do I pass to?
That would be me.
Charlie.
I am Charlie Stiffler, also known as Milner, spelled wrong, so I always get it right. You can find me streaming on Twitch. Maybe right after this, hypothetically, some Halo is going to happen, I think. You can also find me on YouTube with that channel. I need to post badly. It's been a minute. You can also find me on stream, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Snapchat, but never TikTok because I am not 5 years old. Brandon, take us home.
I am Brandon Vader, also known as Drakanis, also known as the Tech Pirate. You can find me on YouTube on the Tech Pirate. You can find me also on YouTube as Brandon Vader. Haven't done a lot of content lately. That really does need to change, but I keep falling down other rabbit holes. Finding myself looking at,
That's a good rabbit hole.
$106,000 plane. And
looking for iPads.
And
you're gonna make me do one of my retirement plans as an episode, aren't you?
yes, you should.
That could be a discussion topic.
Yeah.
I mean, not for me. I'm young. I'm a young buck, and like all you, but
Yeah, I'm not quite double some people's age here, but I'm up there.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us on this episode of This Week I'm Learning. You can find us wherever you listen to podcasts, as well as on YouTube at This Week I'm Learning. For you social media peeps out there, you can find us on Twitter at ThisTWIL. If you'd like to contact us, you can, of course, send an email to twil@thetechpirate.net. See you all next week.
Bye-bye.
I have to clarify. Like I said, I'm not quite double your guys' age here, but I'm also very immature for my age, so I'm okay.
Yeah, it works out.
Exactly. You're fine. You're only as old as you feel.
Oh, in that case, I'm fucked.
Man, everybody talking about planes now makes me want to do two things. I want to go get my Discovery flight, which apparently there's a place in Pattaya, and I want to play Stormworks again now, which,
Yeah.
I know, that's just a me thing.
I may have hypothetically uninstalled it yesterday.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, you do have gigabit internet, though.
Yeah, but...
Yeah, the internet is
Jackass.
just storage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that?
That is the Martin Mars.
The Martin.
And that is my retirement plan. It is predicated on me winning the Powerball, because that's how much money I'll need to buy it and maintain it. It is a 4-engine seaplane.
They have a water bomber fleet in my.
There's only 8 of them in the world, and 7 of them are water bombers. This one, the Martin Mars, Hawaii, is the only, I believe, the only one that is not a water bomber. It is a 2-story tall, 4-engine seaplane with a gross payload capacity of 38,000 pounds, of which I can make one fucking hell of a flying houseboat.
What is its operational range?
6,000 miles.
Come visit when you get it.
And
I could.
How many gallons per hour does it burn?
Oh.
Hence the Powerball.
Hold on.
If you have to ask, you can't.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like the money isn't all for the plane; it's for the maintenance and for the fuel for the plane. Otherwise, it will literally be a houseboat.
500 gallons per hour.
Oh God!
The Forest Industry Flying
$1,500,
Tankers
probably
fleet,
more.
established by Sprout Lake near Port Alberni in the early 1960s, Bruce Payne, a pilot well known to the Souk, flew the firefighting group for 17 years and recalled the mighty Mars burned up to 500 gallons of fuel per hour.
Yeah, my Baron
Port Alberni, it's in Canada.
runs 24.3, 24.5 gallons per hour at cruise.
To be fair, he can live in his. You trying to live in your Baron.
You would have trouble sitting in yours.
I could.
It would not be much
live.
Yeah. Okay.
It would be equivalent to car camping
Brandon,
for life.
you're going to have to remove a seat behind your pilot seat just so you can slide it all the way back and high tower that shit like Police Academy.
Could you have a LAN party in your plane?
No.
Because Mjolnir
could.
can.
Yeah.
There would be
a basketball game.
I could have, it would be a 5-bedroom, 2-bath with a kitchen and a mess hall.
Maybe a driving range,
I may have hypothetically created this in AutoCAD already.
Allegedly.
I say I would have to win the Powerball. I'm not saying like the small one, not 40 million. No, it needs to be like over 340 million. I need like a good $500 million Powerball to really be able to make this.
Time to get some NFTs.
Oh, believe me, there are some really small coins that I have sunk some money into, trying to. I just hope they get to a penny. If they get to a penny, we're going on a big trip and everyone's quitting their job. Like, yeah, if they get to a penny, I'm set for life.